The government has pledged that all school-aged children in England will be back in class in September, with details of the plan to be published in the next 2 weeks. The Education Secretary Gavin Williamson said that classes could go up from 15 to 30, but wouldn't say whether the 2-metre rule would change to help this. In Northern Ireland, social distancing in schools has been halved to 1 metre, with the aim of a full reopening on August the 24th. Schools in Wales will reopen at the end of this month, with only a third of pupils in class at any time. While in Scotland, schools are preparing to reopen on August the 11th. A £1 billion fund to help children in England catch up was also launched. By the start of the new academic year, tens of thousands of children will not have been in school for nearly 6 months. Our education editor Branwyn Jeffries reports now from Stoke-on-Trent.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Minister.
It is his birthday, not just their hand-washing song.
Thank you very much, everybody.
A strange moment on a visit to dampen unease about schools.
Okay, yeah.
Today, the Prime Minister promised it will be normal soon. All children in school full-time from September.
Absolutely. Let me be very clear. I want a world in which, as far as possible, provided we can make the classroom safe, and I think we can, as safe as possible, I want every child, every pupil, every student back in September. And I'm sure we can get it done. Full classroom.
Not quite. No more than 15 in a group. Now, ministers say by autumn, each bubble of children could be back to 30. Another policy not thought through, say teachers.
There is no social distancing if you've got 30 children in one classroom. But then you're going to ask them to abide by social distancing when they go out. I think that won't work. And that will mean that children aren't looking at social distancing at all.
So let's firstly start with those unusual comparisons.
At this school, teachers say they'll work through summer.
Opinion presented as fact.
Yeah, lovely opinion.
Volunteering to do extra hours to help catch up.
Everyone's a distance apart.
These year 10s are facing their GCSEs next year.
Being out of school, I've really struggled with motivation. You know, I can't get up and do my work in the morning.
Say on a normal year, no coronavirus, it wouldn't be a nice thought to summer school, but I think for me, the extra learning in the summer school would be really crucial.
Are you anxious about the workload of the year ahead now?
A lot more anxious than I was before lockdown, because I know we're going to have a lot more than the other year 11s.
The past couple of months the nerves have grown. It's not looking great because we've got a lot to catch up on. We have missed a lot.
So to look after their mental state over summer, creative activities, extra teaching, costing tens of thousands.
Without good emotional well-being, they're not going to be able to learn and not achieve.
Money the head hopes he can get back from the new cash. One-to-one tutoring might help too. But under these plans, he'd have to find a quarter of the cost.
I haven't got that money. I cannot make that money up. So when all is said and done, we're going to have to look for other ways of supporting and ask for assistance wherever necessary. I would urge ministers to do a U-turn on that one. They've done a few recently, haven't they? So a U-turn on that one is the funding isn't there.
Disbelief or emphasis?
Disbelief.
Across the UK, the political pressure is growing.
I put metaphor and
Parents asking when will schools be fully open. Plans promised in England within weeks.
Well done, everybody.
Branwyn Jeffries, BBC News, Stoke-on-Trent.
The coronavirus alert level for the whole of the UK has been lowered from 4 to 3. That means the virus is considered to be in general circulation instead of high or rising, and that there could now be a gradual relaxation of restrictions. The change in the level comes as a further 173 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. It brings the total number of deaths from coronavirus to 42,461. Our science editor David Shookman has more details.
A crush at the start of the week as more shops were allowed to reopen. Social distancing apparently forgotten. Some scientists were concerned that the lockdown was being relaxed too fast. But today, the Prime Minister, queuing up for his own turn at hand washing, said reducing the alert level could allow changes to social distancing.
When we go forward to July the 4th, which is the next big stage in the plan. We hope that there will be more guidance out very, very shortly that will help people, help businesses, help hospitality to prepare for that and how to implement social distancing in a safe way.
So how does the alert system work? Well, level 5 is the most extreme, where the health service could be overwhelmed, which is why the lockdown was introduced. 4 is where the number of infections is high or rising, which is why social distancing is important. 3, which we've just moved to, is where the virus is in general circulation, but the government judges it can lift some of the restrictions, including that social distancing. The worry now is local outbreaks. There have been long queues in Leicester as people try to get tested, amid reports of a surge in cases in the city. It's difficult to get a reliable picture across the whole UK, but the signs are hopeful. One of the clearest indications that things are going in the right direction is the number of infections in England falling dramatically over the last 6 weeks. Now, people are still catching the virus, just not on the scale that was happening at the start of the outbreak. And the government's scientific advisors have come up with a new way to try to explain that. They say the rate of new infections is falling by 2 to 4% across the UK every day. All this makes it easier for the government to cut the 2-metre rule. Businesses, especially in hospitality, are desperate to see that. But there are scientific experts who believe it's still too soon to reduce the alert level.
I think when you change an alert level, it sends a message to the public that they don't need to be so alert and they don't need to be so concerned about the virus. And I think we still have thousands of cases in the community. We know that from the ONS data, and we do need to move very cautiously.
And a reminder of the dangers as this meat processing plant in Yorkshire had to close because of a new outbreak. The virus has declined, but it hasn't gone away. David Shukman, BBC News.
Let's speak now to Vicky Young, our chief political correspondent, who's in Westminster. Vicky, a lower alert level and everyone back to school in September in England. What does all this point to?
Well, it's interesting because there were restrictions lifted before the alert level came down, but now I think those in government feel that this should give people more confidence. And the Prime Minister talking today about going back to a world where we were less apprehensive, and you get the sense they're trying to coax people back to a more normal way of life, and nowhere more so than when it comes to schooling. After that embarrassing U-turn where they had to go back on bringing back all primary school children in England to school by the end of term, a much clearer message tonight from the Education Secretary saying we will bring all children back in England in September. I'm told the Prime Minister is very much at the forefront of his mind, that he's determined to find a way to make this happen. And then, as we were hearing there, the 2-metre rule, reducing that, something so crucial, particularly to the hospitality industry. I think we said earlier that it was a matter of when this was going to happen, not if it was going to happen, while Whitehall sources confirming tonight that they will happen next week.
OK, Vicky, many thanks. Vicky Young there.